إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا فصلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. يقول الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلذلك فادع واستقم كما أمرت ولا تتبع أهواءهم وقل آمنت بما أنزل الله من كتاب وأمرت لأعدل بينكم. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ثبتنا عند الموت بلا إله إلا الله. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. آمين يا رب العالمين. Alhamdulillah, today I just want to share a brief reminder for myself and for all of you, inshallah, in regards to the current situation of the Muslims living in this country and why this issue is so important and the impact that it has on us, what it implies for us, for every single one of us as a Muslim living in America. You know, all the messengers, alayhimu salatu wasalam, they were faced with a hijacking of their own mission, of their own narrative. They were portraying something, but they were shown to portray something else. They were saying something, but they were told to other people that, oh, they have another agenda. It's not what they're saying. They were ridiculed. They were called liars and magicians while they were spreading the message. They were called sorcerers and liars. They were called all of these things. So none of the messengers, alayhimu salatu wasalam, actually had an easy time doing what they did. It wasn't easy for them. They had to go through a lot. They had to have resilience. And they had to do this day in and day out. And one such example is that of Musa alayhi salam, Moses. And the dialogue he had with Fir'aun, the Pharaoh, arguably the most terrible, despicable, evil person in the history of humanity. Fir'aun was a person who was so despicable, the things that he did were unimaginable. He killed babies every other year. He treated the people in his land like nothing. He thought he was the god of that time. That's how arrogant he was. That's the type of person he was. And Musa alayhi salam, he's told by Allah to go talk to him. And when Musa is talking to him, Fir'aun says, قَالُوا إِنْ هَذَانِ لَسَاحِرَانِ. They say, these two are just magicians. They're just magicians, they're sorcerers. They're trying to take you away from your land and stuff. And then he says, يُرِيدَانِ أَن يُخْرِجَكُمَا مِنْ أَرْضِكُمْ بِسِحْرِهِمَا. So he doesn't just stop there, he doesn't just call them magicians. He goes on to say they intend to get you kicked out of your land. And they want to do this by means of their magic. And so he's saying that with their magic, they're going to want to kick you out of your land. They're a threat to homeland security. That's what Fir'aun is saying to them. And so they're going around saying that they're magicians, and if you listen, they'll get you kicked out of their land. And if you study Musa's response to Fir'aun's propaganda, you know, nowadays we're faced with so much propaganda. If you study Musa's response, you see that he's firm. He doesn't get shaken when Fir'aun ridicules him or says something about him or accuses him of something. He stays strong and he stays to the point. If you see in the Quran the arguments that he makes to Fir'aun, very, very straightforward. He doesn't go off the path. And so Fir'aun, he's someone who says, أَلَيْسَ لِي مُلْكُ مِصْرَ وَهَذِهِ الْأَنْهَارُ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِي. He says, am I not the one who exclusively owns the dominion of Egypt? He said he calls Egypt his own. وَهَذِهِ الْأَنْهَارُ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِي. And the place whose rivers flow beneath my feet. That's what he says about himself. But then he says that وَيَذْهَبَا بِطَرِيقَتِكُمُ الْمُثْلَى. He's talking to his people, and he says that they will want to take you away from their exemplary lifestyle, from your exemplary lifestyle. So before he's saying, this is my land, this is my dominion, But now he knows that if he says that to his followers, then they'll be like, oh, he's so arrogant. He's saying that it's his own thing. But he says, no, it's your land too. It's your land too. And so they're trying to keep you out of your land, so that's why you should support me. You should hate them. And so there's this concept of patriotism. And if you want to be a patriot to the country that you live in, then you will hate not only these people, but you'll also hate the message that they're trying to spread. You'll hate whatever they're trying to say. And then mufla, in this sentence, it actually means exemplary lifestyle. We're kings of the world. We're the most powerful country in the world. I have the greatest dominion in all of the world. And we live here like kings. And Fir'aun says, we live here in such a luxurious lifestyle. If you listen to the message that they're spreading, then they'll take that away from you. You'll have to live, you can't live like you do anymore. They want to change everything you do. And this propaganda, the point I'm trying to make is that this is nothing new. The terms that I use, threat to homeland security, they're trying to kick us out of their land, we're the strongest country in the world. These things were used at the time of Fir'aun as well, and at the time of other messengers as well. These tactics aren't anything new. But the thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us guidance in the Quran. He's given us these stories, the story of Musa and Pharaoh, so that we can use it in our lives. The problem is that we don't actually look to these stories. We don't actually turn to the Quran. Many of us were confused. We don't know how to deal with the propaganda, the hate towards Muslims in the country. We don't know. And because we're not knowledgeable about our own religion, we don't know how to defend ourselves against these attacks against us. So many of us aren't even involved. We're just like, yeah, we're just going to live our lives and it's okay. And it's interesting that all the media outlets as well, when you look at Fox and CNN and NBC, all of them, they're supposedly independent of each other. They're their own news station. Yet they all have the same message. They all have the same news. They're all doing the same thing. Fir'aun, interestingly, he says, فَأَجْمِعُوا كَيْدَكُمْ ثُمَّ أَتُوا صَفًّا. Unify your plot. Fir'aun is telling his people, unify your plot. ثُمَّ أَتُوا صَفًّا. And come at them in rows and rows, rows upon rows. So that, he's saying that if you're separate, then our hate won't be that strong, our attacks won't be that strong. But if you unify, if everyone unifies against these people, the Muslims, then we'll hurt them. Then they'll fall. The Muslims will fall if we do this. Same thing that was used at the time of Fir'aun is used today as well. All these news stations are saying the exact same thing. وَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْيَوْمَ مَنِ اسْتَعْلَى. And know for sure the only one who will succeed today is the one who shows his superiority. Meaning that all we have to do is show them that these Muslims, what they're doing is inferior. We can say that they don't respect women. We can say that they're terrorists, they're this, they're that. Everyone is going to be focused on what? How bad the Muslims are. No one even cares what everyone else is doing. It doesn't matter how good or bad what they're doing is because everyone's just focused on us. So the government has used this tactic, is that they focus on us as a scapegoat so that they can do their own things and people won't question it. Because they think that they're doing a good thing by, attacking us in the media and in the social world. And so we just have to, they just have to worry about how bad we are, and they can do whatever they want. And this is the first point I wanted to make. The second point is that when we do get attacked, and when we do hear these things, how are we supposed to react? How are we supposed to react as Muslims? When someone makes a threat to burn the Quran, or someone makes a threat to draw pictures of the Prophet ﷺ, draw cartoons, and do these despicable, disgusting things, how are we supposed to react? Are we supposed to get enraged and do these, oh yeah, let's go, man. We gotta get together and, we gotta, defend Islam, we gotta do this and that. Look at what the Messengers ﷺ did. Look at what they did. Musa ﷺ, he gets tired of Fir'aun. Fir'aun just keeps going at him. What does Allah say? He says, say the best to him. Say what is good to him. Perhaps he will be guided. Perhaps Fir'aun, the worst person ever, Musa ﷺ is so irritated of him, Allah still says, say good to him. Don't get mad with him. Perhaps he could still be guided. He might still turn to Islam. SubhanAllah. This is amazing. When there's something that is done by someone in Florida or across the world, halfway across the world, we get so enraged and we get so passionate about it. We don't even think what we're doing. And have you ever thought that maybe the purpose of what they're doing is to enrage us? Someone will go threaten to burn the Quran, and we'll get all jumped up, and we'll start doing these things and saying these things, and then what do they do? Oh, look at these Muslims. We told you they're violent. We told you this is what they do. So they're getting us into their trap, and Muslims have fallen into this trap. And back to the patriotism aspect. You know, a Muslim nowadays are even guilty of falling into this trap as well. Because nowadays you might hear Muslims saying, yeah, you know, I have an American friend. What? What is an American friend? What he means is, oh, a Catholic. That's what he means, right? So we've also made this distinction. We're saying that it's simultaneous. That American means kafir and non-American means you're a Muslim. We've made this distinction. Many Muslims have too. And this is a scary thing. That I'm an American Muslim. I'm proud to say that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm a patriot of this country. And we have to have that attitude. Because then our thoughts will get messed up and we'll easily be enraged by what other people say. And the problem is that Muslims are ignorant today. We don't know our own religion. If we say that we want to make da'wah and we want to spread our religion, how do we do that if we don't even know our religion? If we listen to Christian radio and someone's making a point, you know, attacking the Quran and saying this ayah and this thing and whatever, and there's a mistake in the Quran, they say that. And we'll be listening, one of us that has no knowledge of our own religion, we're like, yeah man, he's right. Oh my God, you know, and you'll get confused. And this is especially serious for the youth in our communities. Those who go to university day in and day out. Those who go to college and public schools. Those are the ones who are in most serious jeopardy of those around them. Because they have ideas coming into their heads every day. People take anthropology classes, philosophy classes, and what they're bombarded with is, oh, religion's nothing. Religion's useless. It's all about science, it's this, it's that. And then, unfortunately, because our youth aren't raised properly, they fall into this trap as well. And so if we don't know what Islam is, then how can we tell anybody else? You know, if something is being misinterpreted or something, we can't defend ourselves. A pastor can quote more ayat than we can. A pastor can locate something in the Quran easier than we can. That's a disgrace nowadays. We don't even know what we stand for. We're not even confident in our religion. We don't even know the basic values of our religion anymore. Because we've become like everyone else. We just want to blend in. We want to conform to the society. We don't want to be different. And so, you have to go back to the point that you think of the messengers alayhi salatu wasalam and the lesson we learned from their da'wah and what they did at their times. And they went through tough times, like I said. They went through so many tough times. You know, Allah even says that it will be hard for the mushrikeen to accept your message. You know, if someone else says that it's going to be hard for them to accept it, you're like, oh, you know, I should keep trying. Allah says it will be hard for them to accept. And yet, what does Allah say to them? فَلِذَلِكَ فَدْعُوا. Then just keep inviting them. فَدْعُوا وَاسْتَقِمْ. And be strong in your stance. Don't shake. Be strong in what you have to stand for. كَمَا أُمِرْتُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. Be strong in what you have to stand for and what you've been told. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. And don't follow their vain desires. Don't fall into their traps. And it's important to explain what does it mean by their vain desires. Like I mentioned earlier, their desires are actually to make us look like what they're saying we are, even though we're not. That's what their intention is. That's what their desire is. And so he says, don't fall into that trap. وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ وَقُلْ آمَنْتُ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ كِتَابٍ. And just say, آمَنْتُ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ كِتَابٍ. I believe in what has been sent to me from the book, what has been sent to us from the book. Allahu Rabbuna wa Rabbukum la hujjata baynana wa baynakum. There's no need to say you are this and you are that. There's no need to make disagreement and conflicts with the other people that aren't part of our religion. There's no need to do that. There's no need to hate. And you know, the last part of my khutbah, I'm going to focus on da'wah. You know, it's not possible to invite someone when you hate them. It's impossible. It doesn't make any sense. You can't hate someone and be like, yeah, come over for chai or something. You know, you can't do that. If you hate the guy, you're not going to invite him to your house. It doesn't make any sense. You have to have some sort of liking to the person to be able to invite them to something. If we as Muslims are hating those around us, and we're stuck in our masajid, and we're stuck in our homes, and we're just like, yeah, we just want to stay away from everything. We don't want to get involved. Then we're saying that, you know, we hate these people. We don't want to be involved with anything that they do. We just want to be isolated amongst just ourselves. Try to make it like, you know, back home. It's just Muslims. It's just us. We're good. We don't want to be involved. And this gets us to a point of intolerance. Whether we see something small, even from Muslims. Many parents, when they see a Muslim youth doing something small, and you know it's because they've been exposed to this day in and day out at school, what do? We get enraged. Oh, I can't believe you're doing this. We raised you in this way, this, that. We get so mad because of something. And this leads our children to also stray away. And so the point I'm trying to make is our actions speak louder than words. You know, the non-Muslims, what they're trying to do nowadays, they're focusing on us, and we are trying to tell them, oh, we're not this. We don't oppress women. We're not terrorists. We're not this. We're not that. We don't do this. We don't do that. We're so busy telling everyone what we are not and what we do not do, we don't get a chance to tell them what we actually are, what we actually do. And conversely, like I said, everyone is focusing on us. We have to constantly defend ourselves. We cannot not attack, but we can't say anything about them. They say that we oppress women. Why don't we ask them? You say we oppress women? What about your, markets that you have in women? You use women in, publicity, in ads, and pornography, and these things. These markets, what have you done for the rights of women? Why does a rape occur every 12 seconds in America? Why does this happen? Why don't we ever do that? Why don't we ever ask, why does a woman not get paid the same salary as a man does in this country? Why don't we argue these things? If we were to even get involved in one of these causes, then they would wake up. Non-Muslims would be like, yeah man, this guy, he's involved, he's supporting the same thing we support. I didn't know, I thought he didn't even respect women at all. I thought he beated them and this and that. And also your neighbors are very important. Whenever you have da'wah opportunities in your own community, your own neighbors, you have to show love to them. You know how your neighbors come up to you and they give you something at Christmas time? They give you like a box, chocolates, candy, whatever. They give you something. Sometimes even a bottle of wine or something, And what do we do at Eid? Do we go say happy holidays to them? Eid Mubarak? Yeah, it's my holy month, I'm fasting, I just wanted to give you some food. Here you go. Do we ever do that? And no matter if you're nice to them, then your neighbor will never hate you depending on what he sees on CNN. He could see whatever they say on Fox, he will never hate you because he knows you personally. And he knows my neighbor's a nice guy. I don't know why they're saying this stuff about him. So actions speak louder than words. And so our religion is so beautiful. Islam is so beautiful, we just don't portray it the right way. That's the problem. And so when people attack us in the media, we're actually justifying their attacks because we're not living our lives according to Islam. We're not living our lives according to the Quran or the Sunnah. We're not doing these things, so we're an easy target. If we actually studied the Quran and we studied the stories of the Quran and used them in our lives, then we would be able to defend ourselves. We would be confident in ourselves. We would say, no, what you're saying is wrong. I know what you're saying is wrong. You may have a convincing argument, but no. And our youth would be the same way. And the problem is that we as parents and as adults, we don't even have the confidence in our own religion. How will our kids have it? We talk so much about the youth and so much about how important it is. The youth have such a weight on their shoulders. When our elders start passing away, start going, the younger generation will be left. What will be left of Islam if there's no Islam in the younger generation? What will be left for them? If the situation is as bad as it is now, and we say that the elders are the one that actually have Islam because we're from back home and we actually have some sense of confidence for our religion, what about the youth? The youth nowadays, look at the situation. And so this is why it's so important to act on what we've been taught in our religion. And we can sit and drink chai and coffee and sit over dinner and talk about all the problems in the world. We can sit, oh yeah, it's politics and foreign policy and this and that and this. We talk about these things at our dinner parties and stuff. And then when it's all talk. It's all like entertainment for us. It's just chit chat, and then that's it. We go home and we continue our lives. But the thing is that we need to start small. We need to start very small, at the very, very basic level. And the first thing we need to do is we need to ask ourselves, how am I misrepresenting Islam in my life? What am I doing that might be taken wrongly by those in the outside world? For the youth, what might I be doing that someone at my university may say, oh, what is this? And we'll be asked as well on the Day of Judgment. All of us in our communities, our neighbors will come on the Day of Judgment and Allah will say, you're not on the right path. And they'll say, and you know, I had a Muslim neighbor, he never made da'wah to me. He never told me anything. Students that are from university, they'll be on the day of judgment, they'll say, these Muslims that were at our university, they didn't do anything. They didn't share the message with me. How was I supposed to know if they didn't act like it? And it'll come upon us. That's why the responsibility is on our shoulders as well. And so you have to ask yourself, how am I misrepresenting Islam in my own life? And you have to change those things. The second thing is that we have to become educated in our religion. We're so ignorant in our religion, we have to become educated. We have to spend time with the Quran. We have to spend time learning at least a little bit of Arabic. Because if we don't know anything about the Quran and our own classical literature, then it's easy attack for others. We can't defend it. And of course, if you don't know about it, then you don't have any confidence in it either. It shows that you don't care about it. It shows that you don't have any regard for your own religion, your own book. And then the last thing, what this will lead to, is becoming stronger, becoming more confident. You know, it's our own fault that Muslims, that non-Muslims in our country have the views that they do against us. You know, we're not involved. We're not involved enough in the media, in the social realm, that they even know what Islam is. You know, we need to get involved at our libraries, our local libraries. We need to do seminars about women, about Quran, not even as a book of guidance, even as a book of literature. Look at the Quran and its literary, values and aspects. It's amazing. No other book is like it. You can do those things at your library. You can write articles for your local paper. You have to speak up. And instead of telling people what Islam is not, like I said, you have to start telling them what Islam really is. You have to stop being defensive. Because you know, when you're defensive, it shows that you have something to be defensive for. I don't need to tell anybody that, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that, because I know that I'm not that. All I have to tell them is that Musa alayhi salam, stay straight, stay firm. Don't be shaken by what these people are saying. And then that will lead to da'wah. That will lead to for us the ability to invite others to Islam. When we have the knowledge and the confidence in our own religion, that is what led the messengers of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'een. That's what led them to guide so many people, multitudes. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. People are coming in waves. People are coming in multitudes to the religion of Islam once the Muslims were victorious. And you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. No doubt Allah will not change the status of a people, the condition of a people, until they change themselves. If we don't change ourselves, then we can talk all day about, oh, the Muslims are this, Muslims that, but most of us don't even pray 5 times a day. Most of us don't even fulfill the very minimum basics of our religion, and we complain, oh, why are Muslims attacked? Why are Muslims, this, insulted, and why are Muslims so low nowadays? It's because of our own selves. Don't blame anyone except, every one of us has a responsibility. We cannot blame anyone except ourselves. And so we have to be confident in our religion, we have to study our religion, and inshallah that will lead to us portraying the message the right way and guiding others to this religion as well. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to guide others towards our religion. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a sincere relationship with the Quran. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a sincere relationship and ability to follow the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides all of our youth, and I pray that He forgives us for any mistakes that we've made.